I received my Nexbox A95X Pro a few days ago. It took about a month for me to receive it after I ordered it from GearBest. But anyway, I received it. Yesterday I killed it. I was trying to make a backup using titanium backup. Anyway, I needed to install SuperSu, and I already knew that a lot of these people were complaining because when you install SuperSu on these boxes running Nougat, it kills your box. So I pulled a pin on the hand grenade and plugged my ears, and by George it went off and I killed my box. So anyway, that's the box. Now, they don't have a firmware. The manufacturer that made this has not provided a firmware yet. So in the interim, I went ahead and added Libre ELEC, actually it's Core ELEC, onto it, and I used that for a day or two. And now this gentleman here, Naya, whoever he is, whatever you pronounce it, he's created a firmware, a ROM, for a different box, but it should run on this box. So I went ahead and here's all his instructions. Download the ROM, extract it with WinRAR, blah, 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 blah. Here's all the instructions. Okay, I went ahead and was going to use those instructions. But anyway, I don't know if you can see it. I was going to create the micro SD card using that spare one I've got. So I was going to follow those instructions, install twerp, and then go ahead and use this file. So I went ahead and downloaded this 3 files. He said there's twerp, there's a burn card maker, and there's the ROM itself right there. Okay, so I was going to go ahead and do that. But then after I extracted it, this one here, there's the RAR file that I downloaded, open with 7-zip. It was an image file. So with an image file, I extracted it, it's right there. I don't need to use his process. What I'll just go ahead and do is connect my box to the computer and install it that way. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and install it using the box connected to my computer. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the USB burning tool, that one right there, and that's version 2.1.6. You could use version 2.0.8, whatever version you got, but this is the latest one right here. Okay, so let's go to the file. Well, first thing, if it's not in English, you can go back and change it to English. But anyway, then you'll have to start it up again. So we go to File. We want to import the file. Now we had it in Downloads. Downloads, there it is. There it is right there. Click that, click Open. So there it is at the bottom. Let's load it. Okay, what I'm going to do, let's erase the flash, erase bootloader, and weather overwrite the key. Okay, we do not want to do this because this one got L1 HDCP 1.2 or 1.4, whatever it is. But anyway, that gives you Netflix in HD 1080p. So we do not want to overwrite that key. If we do, we lose that Widevine Level 1. So we don't want to do that. So make sure just these here. Okay, I'm going to click Start. Okay, now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my box. Now, inside this box, in the, let's go ahead and remove that. That's the dongle for that remote, RF remote, the voice remote. Okay, inside this AV port here is the reset switch. So I'm going to take a toothpick, put it inside there, and I can feel it and I can hear it, the switch making the contact. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put it in here as I'm plugging in the my custom made USB port or cable. Now I don't know which one of these two is the OTG, so I'll test either one of them. So that's what I'll do. I do not need to plug power in. With these Amlogic boxes, you do not need power. It takes the power that's coming from your USB cable to power the box, enables it to boot up and import the firmware. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go ahead and connect the cable to it and see what happens. Now you should be able to hear the computer make a sound, plus you'll see it on the screen says connected. Okay, here is my custom made cable. I just took two of the USB cords. Didn't matter what was on the other end of it, because basically they're all the same. And I just cut the ends of them off. Took the wires, cut them off, stripped them, twisted them together, red to red, black to black, white to white, etc., etc. I think only 4 wires is all I needed. And taped them up, taped it up. So now I'm going to go ahead and plug them in and see what happens. Okay, I got my USB cable plugged into the power supply, or my powered hub. Okay, I'm putting the pin in the hole, the reset button. Okay, I got it in. Now I'm going to push it down. Okay, I heard it and I felt it. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and plug in the USB cable. By George, I don't know if you heard it or not. So it is connected. I guess not. So I'm going to try the other USB hole, because it should have showed right up here. Should have showed that it was connected. It didn't. It made the noise, but it didn't connect. So let me do this. I'm going to pull it out of there. Put this back in here again. Okay, I just connected it. Now I'm using the other USB port. Okay, that wasn't it either, so it's got to be this first one. Okay, now it's connected. Alright, I heard it, so it's got to be connected. Well, for whatever reason, it did not see it. So I'm going to try it a couple more times, and if that doesn't work, if I don't connect it, then I'll have to use his method of the micro SD card and using twerp installed on the box. So I'm going to go ahead and try it a couple more times and see if I get it to connect. Okay, I found out what the problem was. If you notice, I'm using Burning Tool version 2.1.2. The other one was 21.6. So yesterday I installed the new Windows 10 April update or whatever it was, and it probably killed the driver that was on it. I'm just suspecting. But anyway, when I installed this tool here, I went back and made a new install, and what it did, it reinstalled those drivers for it. So as soon as I plugged it in, it took right off. So it was a problem with the driver. Okay, now if you notice, here's the box. Okay, now this is the HDMI port that I'm using. I hope you can see it. It's the one toward the rear one from the front. So there's your micro SD card, your USB 1, and USB 2. So that one is your OTG port, the rear one, okay? So now that's physically connected, all right? Now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and click Start. Now hopefully it installs 4%. Now if it's a wrong ROM, it won't work on this one. It'll stop about 7%. So far, sometimes it'll get up to 98%. So We got our fingers crossed that this new ROM that I can't pronounce his name created. So we're installing it on that. So instead of using his method of using the card, it's a lot easier for me just to hook it up to the computer and use the burning tool. Again, I'm using Windows 10 desktop computer. So we'll just give it a few minutes and see if it works. So I'll go ahead and shut it off. It's going to be another 10 or 15, well, maybe 30 seconds, maybe more, a minute. I'll just let it run. I know it's boring you anyway. It's moving quite fast. Now, so that it gets done, I will take this box, go it over, and connect it up to my TV and see what happens. So it's almost there, 58%, 59, 60. Again, I did not use his method of using the burn card maker. Now, had this device not had that reset button, then I could have had another choice. I could have opened it up and shorted out some pins on the memory module, or I could have used his burn card maker. But there's always more way to install the firmware. Always more than one way. But again, I killed it by trying to put SuperSu on it because I was trying to make a backup, zip backup using titanium, and it needed the files from SuperSu. And I knew that if I put SuperSu, the probability it would kill the box was probably pretty high, but I had to see for myself. And if it kills it, it just gives me an opportunity to tinker with it. And that's what I'm doing right now. So by killing the box is a benefit. It's not a negative, because I'm always positive. I'm positive that I'm going to break something. And I'm positive that I can always fix it. And of all these Android boxes that I've been tinkering with in the last 4 or 5 years, I think I've only actually killed one that I could never revive. But I did that hardware-wise. I broke something hardware, not software, not firmware. Okay, it's at 98% now. Now the drums are rolling. It took 3.5 minutes, and you heard me ramble for 3.8 seconds. 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Now, sometimes I'll get stuck at that 98%. Sometimes at 98%, it takes a few seconds for it to finish up. So right now I'm crossing my fingers and letting the drums roll. 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Burn successful. Okay, we did it. Okay, it is successfully burnt. So now we'll take that box and put it on the TV and see what happens. Okay, we got it on. Let's plug it in and see what happens. Okay, it should start booting up. Well, looks like I got past the boot screen. Still got a blue light on the box. Let's see what happens now. I would think it would go further than that. Alright, let me go ahead and turn it off. It may take a few minutes. Sometimes it takes up to 5 minutes for them to load. So I'll turn it off and wait till it starts to actually load. Okay, I took it over and redid it because it never did boot up. So we'll try it again. No, looks like the same thing. The firmware loads onto the box. It comes up to the boot screen, but it doesn't go any further than that. So what I will do, I will try his other method and use the micro SD card, install twerp, which he put on there, and then from twerp we'll see if we can install it. But if it doesn't work this way, it's not going to work the other way, but I'll go ahead and give it a try. So this did not work. Okay, the problem was not in the box and the firmware that was installed in the box, but for whatever reason the resolution was not working on my 4K TV. So I took it to another TV and plugged it in, and voila, everything's working. So let me try it again on this TV. Okay, I plugged the power in. It's the same place we were getting to before. Now it should come up to those 4 little bouncing colored balls. Okay. Now the other TV, I set it for a resolution of 1080p, so I'm not sure what was causing the issue, but now the box, I've got it hooked up through my AVR, my Denon AV receiver, which is a 4K. Which in turn goes through from a Denon AV receiver to my Samsung 4K TV. So somewhere along that daisy chain, the signal was getting lost. So by me taking it to the bedroom, hooking it up, everything works. So move it back a little bit. Okay, that's it. Now one thing I did, it did not come with Netflix or anything installed, so I went ahead and installed Netflix, but with this ROM, this is a modified ROM, it doesn't work. Where is it? There it is. Okay, like I said, I just added it because it was not included in this firmware. Okay, now see that what it does, it comes up with an error. So this one is not working on that box. So there's a couple other things I need to test out. So it is working. The recommendations will pop up in a minute. So let's see. I don't know why it's out of focus. But anyway, I'll go ahead and play with it some more, but yes, it does work now. So that's what I want to show you. Okay, I added a few more apps. I added HD Home Run. And that seems to play okay. And it does give me Dolby Digital on the HD channel, so I do get Dolby Digital on that. This box runs kind of slow. Now one thing that I discovered, I had to sideload the DRM info. If you notice on the right hand side, Google Widevine, module DRM. Now originally, when we got this box, it had level 1 and HDCP 1X. So that gave me Netflix in HD. So with this firmware, and I hope it didn't wipe out the keys, so when they post the original firmware for this box, if they ever do, and hopefully I'll get the level 1 back so I can watch Netflix. But as I showed you earlier, Netflix will not run, and that's because of the L3. Now if I go ahead and get one of the other versions of Netflix for the touchscreen phone device, it will work. So I did lose my DRM level 1 with this firmware, so hopefully it did not kill it for when I put the original firmware back on, if they ever give it to us. So anyway, Terrarium, I have no idea what that is. The update file, now I can put the twerp, he's got twerp, so I can put that on there. So one thing that I did not see is terminal emulator. So there was no terminal emulator. So, but anyway, that's what I want to show you. It is back running using the modded firmware, and I cannot pronounce his name, but I'll show you in the link. So that's what I wanted to show you. So it is up and running, and hopefully they'll give me the firmware back, and also the remote with the voice. That does not work very well either. So, and it worked real good on the original firmware. So it brings it up, but that's about as far as it goes. It won't do anything from there. No. Occasionally it will, most of the time it won't. So anyway, that's what I want to show you. It is limping along with his firmware, but firmware is not made for this box. But anyway, thank you very much.